My name is Matt Cormier. I'm a rock climber, and that's me, I think. For getting into climbing, I went out to visit my younger brother when he was 16, I think. He moved to BC, and being out there, he eventually got into climbing. I went out to visit him one day. He was like, "Hey, do you want to go climbing?" And I was like, man, okay. Meanwhile, in my head, like, I'm terrified of heights. You put me on a ladder, no thanks. You know, we go out, and it was the most horrifying experience ever. It was a route called Banana Peel. It's a Squamish classic on the apron, which is part of the chief. And then at one point, I remember he was at the top of the pitch, and I was falling. He was bringing the rope in, and I get to a piece of gear, and I cannot get this out. So, and I'm fiddling with it, and like, now my fear and my adrenaline and everything is just starting to get to me, and I'm losing it because I can't get this piece out of the rock. I'm really starting to panic, and he's out of sight, and I'm trying to yell to him, and then I hear behind me, this guy's like, "Oh, I can get that for you." And I turn around, and it's this dude, and he's got headphones in. He's just super relaxed, and he's just like, "Let me get that for you." And I realize, like, as he's taking this piece of gear out, that he does not have a rope. He's wearing friggin' 3-strap sandals, and he just, like, casually, like, pulls it out and cruises past me. And it was that very moment that I realized, like, I have no business being scared up here. That was seven years ago, and I mean, I've been climbing ever since. Then, you know, fast forward 6 months ago, Welsford Rendezvous. It's kind of the big maritime event, festival, whatever you want to call it. Carload of us went over early, and, you know, me and Nathan.
Well, I'm Nathan Richard. I know Matt from Red Rock because I practically lived there, and so did he. And then he introduced me to outdoor climbing, and I was hooked. We pretty much talk each other into everything. No. In fact, generally when we're climbing, we're sitting below the other person going, "I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that." All right, so we had all signed up for the Welsford Rendezvous, the best day of the year for us in the Maritimes for climbers.
Setting was like perfect. It was like a great weather weekend. Temps were good. The rock was dry.
So Julia and I partnered up because we're notoriously slow. Matt and Eric partnered up because they're faster and they wanted to try and, you know, set some serious times.
It took us 3 hours flat to do the challenge that morning, and like, we were stoked. After eating, we decided we're gonna go up to Minky Wall. There's a classic route up there called Pink Panther that me and Nathan have chirped about for over a year at this point.
Matt comes over and he starts asking me about Pink Panther.
So we go, and Eric and I decide that we're gonna go after it while Nathan is still in the middle of, you know, his challenge. You know, just knock it off before he even has a chance to try it. And then you know, if I get it first, I get it first. And we get there, and we set our gear, and we're looking at it. And I don't know why, but it was really friggin' scary looking. So we sit there for easily an hour, just like looking at it and talking, and like, okay, well, what if we do this? And like, both of us are really nervous. So I lay down on my pack, and I'm just looking up, and I'm just imagining and visualizing us going through the motions and getting to the chains and rappelling off, and, you know, just sending it clean first try, which was the plan. So at that point, I'm still scared, but I'm a little bit hesitant to leave because that would open the door for Peach to get on it first, and I was not having that, not for a second. So I'm like, Eric, why don't we just go for it? We'll do it as the 2 pitches it was originally climbed as. You can take the first one. You know, he leads up, sets the anchor, and I follow up, and then we get there, and at this point, it's still just the 2 of us, and we're looking, and it's like, oh man, this is even scarier now that we're like here and we can taste it. It's like, this is a little bit spicy. You know, I'm looking around, and now it's my turn to go on the sharp end, and I'm out a little bit, and Peach and Julia, they show up, and the smack talk begins.
We arrived at the base of Minky Wall, and Matt and Eric were already up the first pitch. Matt's kind of up there hemming and hawing about whether or not he's going to do the second pitch because it looks a little, you know, a little crazy.
I remember Peach yelling up to me. He's like, well, hey, Matty, why don't you come down here and, you know, Julie and I'll run up and I'll show you how to do it. And like, you know, that was it. That was the end of conversation. It was just like, not a chance. Like, I'm doing this right now. You're gonna be there. You're gonna see the whole friggin' thing, and I'm gonna throw this one in your face as we've done to each other like many times in the past. That's one of the last things that I remember until weeks later.
And little did we even realize the rope line was running behind this giant like flake, which he was kind of wedged in behind, right? So Matt goes to pull around onto the face, and you hear him say falling. And you know, first thing that goes through your head, you know it's going to be a good length fall, right? He's got a fair amount of rope out, and then he starts to fall, and you hear a pop. So I thought a piece came out, right? You know, okay, it's going to be a really big fall now, but he's got a rope on, he's going to be fine, right? But Matt kept falling. He was kind of tumbling through the air, spinning towards me, and you could see like the pop wasn't actually a piece of gear; it was the rope cutting on the razor flake. And you know, first thing goes through your mind is like, oh my god, you know, you want to try and catch your friend, right? It's like one of your best friends is flying through the air, and you know, but before you can even process anything, you know, he hits the ground and he's just rolling. It's like, how do you explain it? It's rolling almost like somebody that has like it's like you have no bones, right? You just and then a second, like it, you know, it takes you a second to process it all, and then you know you're looking, and you think that right there, you know, we thought that he was dead, right? A fall from that height is like unheard of.
I got a Facebook Messenger call from Julia, and like Julie and I are buds, but like I was like, oh, this is like really weird, like getting a Facebook call from Julia. And then my heart just sank. Then it was just like something happened. And then I pick up and Julia's on the other line, and she's like, Nicole, I have Peach to talk to you. Matt was in an accident. They obviously like had to cut his clothes off, and he's bandaged, and like through the bandages you can see the blood, because when he broke his bones, that broke through the skin.
I broke my femur, tibia, and fibula. I broke my sternum. 5 different areas of the foot flew up my elbow. It's the only way I can describe it. There's actually a piece of it still at Minky Wall somewhere. I broke my C5 and C6 vertebrae. Okay, doesn't really mean much, even though it is technical and more serious. But when you hear you broke your neck, and when that starts to sink in, man, that's pretty big. That's pretty friggin' big.
Best case scenario at the time wasn't where he is even right now, right? To be honest, best case scenario was probably, you know, just survival.
Recovery was fast but slow, but like each day got better and better. It went from like one day not being able to sit up to like one day he's sitting at the edge of the bed and like holding himself up. We kind of went from needing a whole lot of help, the two of us, to like not needing much help at all, which was really good.
After 6 months, I'm nowhere as close to what I want to be or what I was, but from what I see or hear from everybody else, I'm so far ahead of where I should be or would have been expected to be.
he treats it like his full-time job. Like he wants to be better than before, which I see happening.
If I can't work, I might as well treat my recovery as my full-time job. I get up, I have some coffee, I go to physio, I'm there for 2 hours, and from physio I go to the gym, I'm there for, 3 hours.
People say for better or for worse when you marry someone, but like, you don't actually think about the worse.
Between, him and his wife, Nicole, they really just did it. They just went for it, the whole hog.
Climbing is his passion, like 100%. I remember like a few years ago he had a camera mounted on his helmet, and it was like pointed down at his face, so you can see like all of his expressions. And when you like see people and they're doing something that they really love, like that was it. Like that moment I was like, this is our life. Like, there's no way he's ever gonna stop this.
The goal's always been to get on rock. I'll be back on rock. The objectives will change compared to what they normally would be. Like I'm always like clawing for more. And when I get back to where I was before I fell, I'm still gonna be clawing for more. Before I fell, I was always clawing for more. Right? It's like you can't ever be done, I guess. There's this misconception that you can't do something. Bullshit. At least if you're gonna say that you can't do something, be honest about it, right? You won't do it. Yeah, I got banged up, and I could probably just, avoid things and play every card safe. But, I'm 33 right now. You don't get a redo here. The way that you see the environment or your challenges is going to allow you to surpass them or succumb to them, and it's all a matter of like what's up here.
See?
Yeah, so do we want to do pitch 3?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's the only spot you're gonna get pro for a bit. Way up there.
Okay, let's do it. Here's what it was. He looked down at me, and you know what he said? He's like, the only reason I'm doing this is because I think you're gonna come up here and do it after me if I don't. That's exactly what he said.